Scott Stone, Becky Weed, and Chuck Vemberlo join us today on the program. And good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, so let's get into this. And this is one of those races where I know you each have your individual ideas and things that you want to bring to the office. Just a quick explanation of what the office is. I mean, you're looking at the things related to elections. You're looking at vital records, things like that. And it's one of those necessary and important positions that someone has to fill, but people don't always understand necessarily what the job is. And so we'll talk about what you want to do with the office as we proceed this morning. But first, I want to give you each an opportunity to tell folks who you are, and take just about a minute or so, and explain who you are and your background and why you're running for the office. And we'll just go around the circle, and Scott, we'll start with you.
Good morning. I'm Scott Stone. I'm a native of Quincy, born here, and the reason I'm running for the office, there's some problems with the office. I've got about 25 years of management experience ever since I got my MBA, and I think that my skills with that, as well as my real estate background, fit really well with the skills necessary to run this office.
Becky?
Hi, I want to thank you both for having us on and giving us the opportunity to speak to the public. I run in a Department of Insurance office, so what I do is work with the public, and I work hands-on with my staff, and we work well together as a team, and that's what I plan to bring to the office, is to work with the staff, not just manage over them.
Chuck?
Thank you. Thanks for having us this morning. Chuck Vemberlo. I've been at Central State Bank for over 13 years, almost 14 years. The things that I do in that office as far as dealing with audits, dealing with budgets, dealing with payroll, pretty well translates into a pretty good fit going in the county clerk and recorder's office. I've always wanted to get active in politics. This race kind of came up, and I saw an opportunity to fulfill the need that's there.
Okay, so that's just briefly, and you all kept it super short, and that's awesome. That doesn't always happen, so I appreciate that. But so you all given just a little background on yourselves. So let's talk about why you are running for the office. What has and you each alluded to this a little bit, but you can expand on it. So we'll start with you, Chuck. Why do you think that, or why rather do you want to be the county clerk and recorder?
Again, I've wanted to be active in politics. I'm kind of a service-driven individual. With all my years of experience in different groups that I belong to, Knights of Columbus, I've been a volunteer coach for over 10 years. I'm on the board of the Rural Adams Development Corporation, been the president and current board member of CYO, Exchange Club president currently. So I'm active in a lot of different service clubs, so that's kind of something that I enjoy doing. So this is an opportunity really to serve the community, kind of give back to a community that I feel has given me so much over the years. Went away to school, came back here just because I like Adams County so much. It's a great place to raise a family. So this is kind of a chance for me to give something back to the community. I see the needs that are there in the recorder's office and clerk's office. I believe what I do at the bank is going to translate over pretty smoothly. So it's just kind of something I've been interested in, and the opportunity presented itself. And I know I fit pretty good there. So,
Becky?
I have been involved in community groups most of my adult life. I've been a Girl Scout leader, a Boy Scout leader. I work with the teen support group. I've been active in the Republican Party for 5 years. I've been a precinct committeeman for 4. I currently serve on the Adams County Board, so I have worked with the courthouse and the staff of this office, particularly with the current county clerk, by working on the board. I'm on the Public Health and Safety Committee and on Two Rivers Regional Council Board with that budgetary and administrative responsibilities. So I've got a lot of skills in addition to my hands-on customer service that'll help me to work well with the staff.
Scott?
Well, I've been in Quincy a long time. Me and my wife, we feel a need to do public service, community service. Both of us are foster parents, and we've brought other kids into our house, as well as the 2 children we have now were foster children that we've adopted. I've continued that public service by serving on the Quincy School Board for since 2011, and prior to that on the Finance Committee. My natural instinct is a problem solver because I have an engineering background. Then throw my finance on top of it with the MBA. I look at the office and I see the problems and I want to fix them, and I've done that at the school board. We've tackled a lot of problems. We've improved the school board. It's going in the direction I think is very good right now, and I want to see the same thing happen in the clerk and recorder's office.
We're here this morning on the morning meeting with the Adams County Clerk, GOP primary candidates, Scott Stone, Becky Weed, Chuck Fenverlow. Guys, this isn't an office that lends itself to a lot of wiggle room, a lot of reinvention of what the duties call for. There has been a cry for government to be contained, to be smaller, and not have an expansionistic role in a lot of offices. But you get into elected office or appointed office, and people say, well, I'm going to prove my worth by kind of expanding the boundaries of what we do. Is there an issue with what the office does now? And how do you continue to serve the public with what the office is supposed to do in an era in which we're seeing less and less money available right now for government and fewer people really wanting to invest in it because of the climate that we're in? I know, Scott, you've had some problems at the office. We'll just go around a circle.
Sure. There's a few things that I see that need to be improved. Some of the technical things relate to elections, whether you talk about the polling places that have been closed. I know new voter registration cards were sent out to people with their polling places, but a lot of people don't pay attention to that if they voted there a long time. And when people show up at their old polling place and it's closed and don't know where to go, it kind of gets a little chaotic. One of the other things that I want to see is I want to see us audit the voter registration. I want to make sure we're getting an accurate vote. I want to make sure that the people that are registered to vote are actually in the right precincts and make sure that they're actually eligible to vote. On top of that, we've all talked about the management, but it goes basically down to communication, working with the other offices within the county, whether you talk about the treasurer's office, assessor's office, sheriff's office, state's attorney's office. You have to be able to work with these other offices, and that's one of the things that I'm strong at is communication. I've worked on the school board. I had to work with other people. In my own company, I use a lot of subcontractors, and it involves a lot of communications. And I just think I have the skills to do the job.
Becky?
I believe that a lot of times jobs processes are done this way because it's always been done this way. And I think that there's some issues with cross-training and not having proper coverage, maybe during lunch hours or vacations or whatever. So I want to go in. I've got to learn the job anyway. So while I'm learning from the staff, then we'll be cross-training and reviewing all of those processes to be sure that if somebody has an idea to do something better, I'm all for trying something new and then coming back together and investigate how those processes are working and make further adjustments or applaud ourselves for improving our processes.
Chuck?
Obviously, some of the problems that have existed in the office in the past have had to do with the audit, just kind of following up on it and correcting it and making sure things get done right. With my experience in the banking industry, that's kind of what we've done there is set up basically proper procedures so we don't have to worry about the audit when we're audited at the bank, which is pretty much a constant issue there with all the different government groups that we've got to answer to are constantly audited. So we set up proper procedures to make sure that we can respond to those and get them taken care of ahead of time. So that's kind of something I want to do in the office is just make sure we've got the procedures in place. And then when we present that to the county board, if they don't agree with it, you assume they would all vote properly, not just along lines like they've done in the past. They always vote yes, pretty much just straight down the line. So get something done properly, present it to them, get it back to the auditors, make sure everybody's in agreement, make sure you don't have issues along the way. As far as the staff goes and the communication between offices, that's kind of been an issue there in the past. There's some disagreement between offices. So I think as long as you can get all the office holders together and work together, make sure people are doing the job that they're supposed to do, not trying to take power away from another person that works there. I think it can all go pretty smoothly there. We've got a great staff both in the clerk and the recorder's office, so it's mainly just trying to get everybody there to work together, and I think the office can really be efficient and flow smoothly.
Talking with the Adams County Clerk and Recorder candidates who are running in the Republican primary. Of course, that is coming up on March 18th. Chuck Venverlo, Becky Weed, Scott Stone with us. And we're going to continue our discussion, and we've got a few more questions. And if there's a question that you haven't heard or something you want to know specifically and you want to call us during the break, we're not going to take your calls on air, but we can certainly take them off air, and we'll ask those questions when we return this morning on the morning meeting. Phone number is 223-9300.
Saturday morning at 9:30 on WTAD. Experience the latest episode of The Watchmen. 4 men on the clock, reducing the week's events to their essence. Entertainment, politics, sports, media, whatever is pushing the meter locally, regionally, universally. Ryan Nichols, Sean Seacrease, Bob Goff, and Quinn. The Watchmen. Podcast available online at WTAD.com.
What's a podiatrist? A foot doctor. A foot doctor? I didn't know there was such a thing. There is. 25 years ago, I started out with a business plan and a dream. I went to 3 area banks. First Bankers Trust said it was great, and they asked me if I wanted more money than what I was asking for. But that was the start of my relationship with First Bankers Trust. My dreams have come true.
First Bankers Trust, your bank of dreams.
A funeral service is more than an end to life. It's a remembrance, a time to commemorate all that person meant to us.
My dad meant so much to us. It was hard to know where to begin.
Our caring staff will help you make it a fitting farewell with sensitivity, compassion, and respect. Hanson Spear Funeral Home, celebrating a life well lived.
In the past, everyone came to you and you did business at your own kitchen table.
This is Financial Services Representative Michael Libman with MetLife in Quincy. I still make house calls. I'll confidentially ask you questions to help you make decisions about your life insurance, IRAs, long-term care insurance, investing and estate planning. Call me and I'll come sit with you at your kitchen table.
MetLife offers financial services and life insurance. Call Michael Libman. He makes house calls.
Design, build, and transport products for the future right here at John Wood Community College. John Wood provides the training you need to get the good-paying job you want. Employers are looking for highly skilled technical workers in manufacturing, electrical, construction, computer-aided design, truck driver training. Getting started is easier than you think. Call John Wood today or go online at jwcc.edu. John Wood Community College. It's your college for your life.
As a parent, I would recommend John Wood. There's a big misconception that you don't get the college experience until you actually go away to a school. Both of my daughters have thrived at John Wood. John Wood instructors and staff take a real serious interest. All of her classes transferred, no problem. John Wood gave both my kids a great start, a no-brainer for us. My name is Doug Porter, and I'm the proud father of 2 daughters who attended John Wood Community College. It's your college for your life.
Design, build, and transport products for the future right here at John Wood Community College. John Wood provides the training you need to get the good-paying job you want. Employers are looking for highly skilled technical workers in manufacturing, electrical, construction, computer-aided design, truck driver training. Getting started is easier than you think. Call John Wood today or go online at jwcc.edu. John Wood Community College. It's your college for your life.
Continue this morning. We're talking with the Adams County Clerk and Recorder candidates on the Republican ballot, and so one of them will go on and run in the general election coming up in November. We're talking with Becky Weed, Chuck Venverlo, and Scott Stone. And again, you know, and I alluded to this earlier, this is one of those offices that maybe isn't the most, it's not glamorous, there's not you know,
There's not a lot of sex appeal on this office, really.
There really isn't, you know.
These three
line.
candidates aside, of course.
Certainly, yes, absolutely. So, but we've been talking with them about their background and what they want to do at the office and why they feel they are the most qualified candidate. And the next question is, what we've talked about some of the issues and how to fix them and how you would approach it, but let's talk about new things to do at the office. Becky, you were talking about, well, if there's new ideas. Is there a new idea necessarily that you think should be brought to the office or that you would like to propose for the office? And that question goes for all of you, but we'll start with you, Becky.
Well, I agree with Chuck that, first of all, that educating the youth is a good idea. Don't know what groups I'd work with to do that. I want to bring payroll back into the county clerk's office to just save money, and there's processes that we're working on for that. As far as new ideas, I've been looking at other county websites and trying to things that we can do better, especially with our website, upgrading that, making more information available. We don't have a great website. We have certainly a better website than a lot of other counties. So I would upgrade that so that more information was available at a glance.
Chuck?
One of the things I've already been doing is I've talked about this several times, but youth education. I think it's really important to make sure the kids, not only are they registered to vote and willing to vote, but they've educated themselves about the process. I did have an opportunity last week to go to 2 different schools and speak to some of the kids there, and it was really encouraging that they'd made the effort to go out and get registered. But it was also kind of interesting to hear what they knew and what they didn't know, as far as the difference between what is a primary, what is a general election. So some of them had some questions about that. Some of them knew. Several of them were interested in politics as far as pursuing it in the future. So it's kind of neat to get out and talk to those kids. But that's kind of been one of the things that I've been huge on, is really educating our youth. You've got some really intelligent young kids that want to get involved. A lot of them just don't know how to do it or where to go seek the information. So I've been trying to take the opportunity to kind of give them some ideas, how to learn about stuff, what to do about it. If you're going to vote, it's really, once you've taken that opportunity to go out and get registered, now you've kind of got an obligation to educate yourself, go out and learn as much as you can about every candidate that you have a chance to vote for, just so you kind of know and you vote with your heart as opposed to just what someone is telling you to do. So that's one of the things that I want to do in the office, is kind of continue that and get out and educate the kids. The budget obviously is an extremely important thing, especially what's going on in the world today with economics. So you really got to get that budget in hand and look at some different things that you can do with it to kind of cut expenses. Obviously, the payroll has been something that we've talked about over and over again. Bringing it back in the house, I don't think is the right thing right at the time, because you're going to have to hire some individuals to run that, and then you've got expenses that are going to go right back up. I do think you can probably rebid that a couple of different places, get a better feel of what that cost should be. I think it's kind of high right now, so I think if you rebid it, you can probably save some money on the budget. So that's kind of really what I want to work on.
Scott?
Well, there's several things that I want to look at. A lot of those, I'm a financial hawk on the school board, so budgeting is very important. I'm willing to look at anything that helps cut the budget, because I think this budget, as well as every other budget in the county, is going to come under pressure as spending decreases. So whether it's looking at payroll or anything else in the office to streamline things, it needs to be looked at. I agree with Chuck. I'm not jumping on that bandwagon to bring payroll in. I know the county board is looking at possibly taking the items in each of the county offices, such as human resources or payroll, out of the county offices and putting them under like a central administrator. They've talked about that. I'm willing to work with the county board to work whichever way they want to go. But as I said earlier, one of the things I want to look at is auditing the voter records, make sure that we have accurate registration. One of the things in my field that I work with all the time, though, is electronic data on the computers to make sure that all the property information from the recorder's office is accurate on the websites, whether it be the county website or the Adams County GIS website. I recently had a problem where it wasn't accurate, and I had to do some tracking, going to the recorder's office, the assessor's office, to figure out where the mistake was. And as it turns out, the county offices were correct. It was the GIS office that had made the mistake. So I was pleased to see that the county was on top of things, and it was just a simple mistake at the GIS office.
And by the way, and we're talking with the Adams County clerk and recorder candidates this morning in the morning meeting. If anybody wants to follow up, you can. This isn't a League of Women Voters forum, so I'm not going to bark at you if you start speaking out of turn or whatever. So if there's anything that you want to follow up on, you're more than willing.
Yeah, your mics are live
able to do
the
that,
whole time. Yeah, we are
Anybody.
speaking with the Adams County Clerk and Recorder of Deeds GOP primary candidates. Ladies and gentlemen, talk to me for a moment about what you see as the future of technology for the office. Technology is advancing at a rapid rate. Becky, you mentioned earlier you'd like to see more done with the website. But you're also servicing an aged population base who doesn't necessarily take to technology, turn to their computer for answers. What's the role going forward? Certainly technology can do some great things, but if the bulk of the voting population in the county doesn't turn to that technology for answers or might be flummoxed to use it in the voting process, how do you work that happy medium? Is it just a case of education? Are we going to just damn the torpedoes and head into that electronic future, whether it's at the polls or distributing information? Where do you see the role of technology in the office? Chuck, we'll start with you.
I think it's really a good thing that the younger people are into electronics, and that's just automatically what they do. I mean, the dawn of smartphones has aided with that in itself. I mean, I've actually got my parents now, they're members on Facebook, and they're getting involved in computers and stuff, which is kind of stunning since, back when I was a kid, I was their remote control. I had to go turn the TV on for them. So to see the change in them. But, yeah, once you get kind of, a little bit older than my parents are, there's just not a whole lot of computer understanding there, computer knowledge, the savviness doesn't exist. I mean, you've still got to have everything available to them outside of just the computer. Off of the internet, they've got to be able to go find that. It's still in the paper. So I mean, when you do stuff, you can't just go to the electronic media. You've still got to be active on the radio and active, in the paper, in the TV news. So you've got to be able to provide the information right now, specifically in so many different media. So you can't just limit it to the website, and say, hey, if you want to know about it, go to the website. It's on there. Well, that's great for ever increasingly numbers, 50%, 60%, but there's still a lot of people out there that don't have access to it or don't want that access to it. So you've still got to provide it to them in many different ways. The office still has that all available. All the information is still available in paper form. And I think as far as voting stuff, like Scott had alluded to, we got to do a little bit better job in the paper and on the news and on the radio, making sure that people hear about any changes that are made. We can't just rely on that little voter card and then now it's on the internet. If you want to find out where you're voting, go to the internet. Well, a lot of people are like, I don't use a computer. I don't know where I'm supposed to go vote. So we've just got to do a lot of better job currently using as much media as we can to make sure we cover all our bases. Eventually that'll dwindle what you need to do, but you've got to use every outlet right now to present everything you can to everyone.
Becky?
I agree, using all avenues of media, to get out changes in information. Having access at each polling site, if I show up and I don't know where I'm supposed to be because I've been moved, having access to look that up and give direction as to where to go is huge. That was available at the polls that I was at last election cycle, but apparently not in some of the others. So there was a lot of mass confusion. So I would make sure that the technology there was available at every voting place.
Scott?
I think technology needs to evolve as our population evolves. I mean, we need to, whether you're talking about the records, which mostly are in paper form and then copied into electronic form, I think we have to keep it that way because most of the documents that we're dealing with today are created in paper form, and we copy them into electronic form. And I think that's a good step. I don't see us moving away from paper in that office in the near future, but I think we need to have things available for people to see, whether it be on internet or on their smartphones. As far as the election and the voting process, I think that's going to be an ever-evolving thing as technology keeps up with what's available. But we also have to be mindful that we have a population that has to understand exactly how they're supposed to vote, and we can't push technology past them.
Talking this morning with the Adams County clerk and recorder candidates, Republicans, running in the primary, which is on March 18th. We've got just a few minutes left. Okay, I hesitate to ask this question, but I'm going to ask it because what the heck, I think it's probably the only non-financial, technological topic that there is. And so I want to see where you're all at on this. This is a Republican primary after all. And that the question is, okay, so gay marriage is now the law in Illinois. And the Attorney General and the governor says, oh, go ahead, even though the law does not go into effect till June, go ahead and start issuing marriage certificates. The current clerk says, no, we're not going to do it. You know, we're going to stick with what the law says. Would any of you disagree with that or differ with that?
Well, there's a couple of points here. This is Scott, I agree with the position Georgia has taken. Until the law goes into effect, I would not issue the licenses. There's too many potentials for challenges prior to the time that law goes into effect. And if there is a challenge, the courts may put the whole thing on hold and wait to see how the challenge comes out. There is another issue with the licenses that is a problem within the office, is if personnel within the office have a problem issuing a license because of personal or moral beliefs. And I would work with the personnel to make sure that we have people available to issue the license should it become law. And the people that have a moral problem with that, I think I'm not going to force them unless they're the only person available to issue a license at that time.
Becky.
I absolutely commend the current county clerk for taking a stand. She's absolutely protecting those couples from any future challenges, and I agree that until that law actually takes effect, we just need to wait for the law. And yes, I know that there are some people that do have an issue with issuing those licenses. As the office holder, I'm going to be bound by the law that's in effect, and I will follow the law.
Chuck?
Pretty much agree with what they've said. Waiting until the law is in effect is really the only way to deal with it. I mean, you can't just jump ahead and do stuff. I mean, that would be like any other law that comes effective next year or a year after. You can't start enforcing it now. So waiting until it truly comes in effect is the only way to do it. Otherwise, like they've mentioned, people are going to file grievances, file issues, and then it's challenged, and then you've got all kinds of problems that you shouldn't have had by just following the law. So, yeah, I think it's great that she's doing what she's doing and taking a stance and say I'm not going to do it till the law actually comes in effect. And as Becky said, yeah, once one of us is in the office, that's what we do. We follow the law, we follow the statute, and we perform our duties. So yes, we will stick with that.
Brian, you've got three candidates who understand it. It's a wonder to me that the governor doesn't. You have Governor Quinn out there telling everyone to spread the love early and countermand the law. So it's another head scratcher for me in the state of Illinois.
Usurping of power once again.
All right, that is going to pretty much wrap things up for us. But not for us, but for our clerk and recorder forum debate, whatever you want to call it, informational session. But I'll give each of you an opportunity to close this morning and just say what you want to say. So you can get a minute, whatever you want. I don't care.
All right. Well, I'm Chuck Vemberlo. I ask for everyone to get out and vote March 18th. I ask everyone to get out and vote for Chuck Vemberlo on March 18th. I really think this is a pretty important primary, especially on the Republican side. There's so many offices that need to be decided as far as who our candidate's going to be heading into the November general election. So I really hope we get a huge voter turnout. I think there's a lot of important things that need to be decided, and I'm hoping everyone gets out to do that. Obviously, I think I'm the best candidate. I think I'm the most qualified candidate. I ask for you to vote for Chuck Vemberlo on March 18th.
Hi, I'm Becky Weed, and we're out there meeting and greeting. We're eating a lot of soup suppers and pancake breakfasts, knocking on doors, and I appreciate every single person that's taking the time to visit with me about my candidacy. And we're working hard going through to March 18th, and I ask you to come out and vote for me, Becky Weed.
Hi, this is Scott Stone. I just want to say thank you to you guys for inviting us all in to put us on the air and let the public hear what we have to say. When it does come Election Day, March 18th, I hope you get out and vote for me. I feel I am the best qualified candidate for this non-flashy job, as you stated. So when you get out and vote, look who's qualified and look who's not, and I hope you vote for me. Thanks.
All right, there you go. Your Adams County, your Republican Adams County clerk and recorder candidates. Again, the primary election day coming up on Tuesday, so a week from tomorrow. And I would encourage you to get out and vote, or, of course, you can also early vote right now at the county clerk's office. So all of you.
It's a good way to figure out what they do, too.
Through Saturday. So.
Go early vote. You can see the office and kind of some of what they do.
Indeed you can. So, all right, thank you all. Appreciate it. And we'll take a break and continue this morning on the morning meeting.
Saturday morning at 9:30 on WTAD. Experience the latest episode of The Watchmen. 4 men on the clock, reducing the week's events to their essence. Entertainment, politics, sports, media, whatever is pushing the meter locally, regionally, universally. Ryan Nichols, Sean Seacrease, Bob Goff, and Quinn. The Watchmen. Podcast available online at WTAD.com.